Hi, this is Tim Greer with Rinnai's technical training team, and we're at our Griffin, Georgia, North American manufacturing plant where we can produce over 1,600 tankless water heaters per day. So this facility has about 15 of our own tankless water heaters supplying the hot water needs. Now, the factory was opened about a year ago, so it only stands to reason that many of these units are due for their periodic maintenance. So this segment is going to cover the proper way to flush a Rinnai tankless water heater, and we're going to answer some of those frequently asked questions about the process as well. Now, as always, refer to the owner's manual and any other specific technical documents for each model. And remember, if you're not qualified to work on this type of equipment, please get someone who is. Now, as David removes the cover, I want to address the number one question we get. How often should I flush a Rinnai tankless water heater? Now, while the general rule is annually, this could be more or less depending on the hardness of the water, the temp setting, and the frequency of use. Now, if you'd like to reduce the frequency of flushing, consider a whole house water softener or Rinnai's scale cutter accessory. Most Rinnai tankless water heaters offer a maintenance reminder called a Service Soon or SS warning code. It can be set to 6, 12, or 24 months. And some products will also display a line condition or LC code should the water heater sense scaling conditions in the heat exchanger. So we're in front of two Rinnai Sensei tankless condensing models, and they work together as a single system using what's called an Easy Connect cable. Now we can actually flush one of these units while the other one remains in operation. With power removed, we'll disconnect the Easy Connect cable. We're also going to isolate the water heater we're flushing from the plumbing system. Now, a flush procedure is one of the many reasons all tankless water heaters need these valves installed. In fact, they're included with many Rinnai tankless water heaters. So we're going to turn off the cold inlet valve coming from the supply and the hot outlet valve going to the plumbing system. We're also going to connect a drain line to the hot drain down valve and the cold drain down valve. Now we're going to open these valves and drain the water heater completely. At this point, we're going to check the inlet screen filter before we begin to ensure it's clean. But make sure this filter remains inside the water heater during the flush. Another frequently asked question is, what type of pump should I use? You can use an inline pump or a submersible. In fact, there are plenty of kits out there that include a submersible pump and the hoses. That's what we're using today. The pump should move about 4 gallons per minute of liquid through the water heater during the flush. In most cases, a 1/6 horsepower flush pump should work just fine. We're going to fill a 5-gallon bucket with 4 gallons of flushing agent. And we're going to place the hose from the hot side isolation drain valve to rest inside the bucket. And the hose from the cold side will connect to the top of the pump, and we'll place it inside the bucket as well. The next frequently asked question is, what type of flushing agent is permitted? Rinnai recommends virgin food grade white vinegar. Now, what do we mean by virgin? Well, don't reuse the flushing agent on multiple water heaters. Now, there are a lot of other flushing agents out there. Our general rule is that it must be approved by the National Sanitation Foundation for Potable Water with an NSF logo. Just before we start flushing, we want to remove power to the water heater being flushed, wait about 20 seconds, and plug it in again for about 20 seconds. Now, that faint rumbling noise is the internal water flow valves resetting to their default positions. This ensures an optimal amount of flow moves through the heat exchanger. Now, unplug the water heater a final time before starting the flush routine. Ensure the drain valves are open, your filter is in place, and plug the pump in and let the flush routine operate for about an hour. Ensure there is adequate water flowing through the flush loop. If the product does have scale buildup, the water will turn a bluish green. If the water doesn't change colors at all, like this one, you may not need to flush quite as often. If there is a good bit of scale coming into the bucket, ensure your pump and lines remain clear. You may want to stop the flush at 30 minutes, quickly check the inlet filter, and then finish the flush. But remember, keep that filter in the water heater while flushing. So during this 1-hour flush, here are some other simple maintenance checks that can be performed. On all models, inspect the vent system if possible, and inspect and clean all sink and shower aerators in the structure. On Sensei condensing models, check the inlet air filter and the condensate trap drain and drain lines. On non-condensing models, remove and inspect the fan and the burner, and ensure the inside of the cabinet is clean and the recess and pipe cover box if used. When the flush is complete, place the hot water drain line in a drain and flow supply water from the cold side for about 5 minutes to clear any residual flushing agent from the water heater. Now, if you did notice a lot of scale flushing from the unit, you may want to quickly remove and clean the heat exchanger and outlet thermistors. Be sure the water is off before doing this, as these are wet well sensors. Now that we're finished, we're ready to reset our SS code. Models may vary, but for most, simply pressing the on-off button 5 times within 5 seconds will clear it. And if your RE model has an LC code, on the PC board, press the B button 2 times until 2L is displayed, then press the A button until LCL is displayed. On older VCRL models, press and hold the A and B buttons on the PC board for 5 seconds to clear the LC code. And that's it. Now remember, you can always refer to the owner's manual for more detail, and you can also always call Rinnai's call center for additional support too. Thank you.